How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Armchair Analysis. Today, it's all about the NHL playoffs, and super excited. I've been looking forward to doing this one for a while, and yeah, since they start tonight, no better time to dig into it and take you guys through my predictions here for this year's playoffs. Look, it was a heck of a race to the very end. Closed out on Wednesday when Montreal ended up ended up punching their ticket by losing or by just outright winning over the Carolina Hurricanes. Um, they ended up closing out the Blue Jackets for the final one, but and maybe that's another video I'll do at some point. Somewhat kind of recapping the Blue Jackets season as a whole. Because I was super proud of that team to come all the way and be just 2 points shy, just one win shy of being a playoff team. I thought was super impressive and just really great to see from a team that faced so much adversity this year, really before the season even started. So maybe at some point here in the next few days we'll get into that, but for right now, again, all about the playoffs. Montreal punched their ticket. They got the last wild card spot. Minnesota would clinch theirs by going to overtime. I think it was last Tuesday night, Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And then St. Louis would also punch their ticket with a win, knocking out the Calgary Flames. So the overall, the teams that you'll see in the playoffs this year, Toronto, Tampa Bay, and Florida from the Atlantic. Those are your top three seeds. Then you have the Washington Capitals, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the New Jersey Devils, the three out of the Metro. Again, the Ottawa Senators and the Montreal Canadiens coming out of the wild card. As for the Western Conference in the Central, you got the Winnipeg Jets, the Dallas Stars, and the Colorado Avalanche. And then from the Pacific, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Los Angeles Kings, Edmonton Oilers, with, again, Minnesota and St. Louis being the wildcard teams out of the West. Really excited, honestly, to see and talk about really all these teams, but I think there's a handful of obvious things to note, of course. The Washington Capitals were by far the best team in the Eastern Conference all season long. They were contenders for the President's Trophy, which ultimately would go to Winnipeg. But the other big storyline was Alex Ovechkin just a couple weeks ago taking hold of the record for most goals scored in regular season. Can that momentum propel this Washington Capitals team to a run that maybe includes a Stanley Cup? Hard to say. Another thing coming out of the East I think we need to really look at is the Toronto Maple Leafs finally maybe breaking through and start and making a deep run in the playoffs. This team hasn't been able to do that for really a long time. They've been in positions where it felt like the team was competitive, but they just didn't get the job done. This year, it feels like they're maybe the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I know they're the one seed out of the Metro or out of the Atlantic, but maybe they are the second best team in the conference. Maybe they're one of the best teams in the league. Maybe they can make that run to the Stanley Cup Finals. Tough to say, but it feels like this is a year where it might be down in the Atlantic. They maybe have a path to the Eastern Conference Finals at the minimum, at the very least. And then we'll kind of see who comes out of the Metro to face them and determine whether or not maybe Toronto makes it back to the Stanley Cup Finals. As for the Western Conference, you obviously have to state the obvious with the President's Trophy, the curse that's kind of been placed upon the team that wins that over the last few years and unable to really progress through the playoffs, maybe even out of the first round in some cases. I think the Winnipeg Jets maybe break that standard, maybe start to set a new trend. I think this is a really good team. I think they're the best team in the NHL through the regular season. But I think there's a legitimate chance that this Winnipeg team maybe goes and makes a run to even win the Stanley Cup Finals. You also have Vegas and the LA Kings are kind of surging here late, but it's hard to ignore the Edmonton Oilers, of course. Anytime a team's got Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and others, it's really hard to overlook Edmonton in this. And then maybe it might be a little hard to overlook the St. Louis Blues, who might just have been the hottest team in the NHL over the last month. There's a lot of different angles you could take when you're looking at this playoffs, and I'm just going to take you through my predictions. This isn't going to necessarily be the same as the casual guide to the NBA playoffs because I feel like I know a little bit more about the NHL. I feel like this is kind of, I don't want to say my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is college football probably in most regards, and even baseball. But we're going to try to get through this and see how we can do. All right, so starting with the Eastern Conference here in round number 1. I'll have a graphic at the end of this video that I'll show you guys my entire predictions at the end. But starting in round 1, we got Toronto facing the Ottawa Senators. I really like this Ottawa team, and if they would have made maybe a 3 seed rather than a wild card position, I'd probably be taking this team to get through the first round. But since they are the wild card, since they are the team facing off against Toronto, I'm going to take the Leafs to get it done. This is one series that I'm not going to be surprised if it goes the full distance. I think this Ottawa team's got a lot of potential. Really, a lot of good pieces that could put them in position to make a bit of a run. I don't know. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know what their ceiling truly is. I don't think it's Stanley Cup Finals, but anything can happen here in April and on into May and even into June. But I think that Toronto's going to get it done. But I think this is going to be maybe one of the best series in the entire first round. We'll see if I carry on through that, through these whole predictions. Tampa Bay and Florida face each other, and I'm going to take the Lightning over the Panthers. There's something about it for me. I know Florida rested a lot of guys towards the end, but there's just something about it that I have this gut feeling that Tampa's going to kind of get back to their winning ways in the playoffs and make a run here, or at least attempt to. I think this series is going to go at least 6, but I'm going to take the Lightning to get through over the Panthers. In the Metro, Washington Capitals and Montreal Canadiens, I think this is going to be a fun little series, but I'm going to take the Caps. I think I think they're that good. I think they are maybe the most complete team in the Metro. I think that's not going to be a very long series. I'm going to say Caps and 5, and then the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. I'm going to take Carolina. I think that they were really solid. I know they rested a lot of guys towards the end of the year, just giving themselves an opportunity to go into the playoffs fresh and healthy. So I'm taking Carolina here. In the Central, I'm going to take Winnipeg to knock off St. Louis. Again, remember what I said. St. Louis is one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. And I would not be at all surprised if they carried that into the playoffs and had this out of nowhere run. If they were taking Vegas instead of Winnipeg, I'd probably be all over an upset here. No President's Trophy curse, at least not in the first round. I'm going to take the Jets. And then Dallas and Colorado facing off in the 2-3 matchup in the Central. I really like this series as well. But I'm going to take the Stars. I think they're just that much better. Colorado had some issues with staying healthy throughout the year. When they have been healthy and when they've been able to do what they're best at, which is lighting a lamp, scoring goals, they could easily hang with anybody in the NHL. But taking Dallas, I just think they got really, really comfortable throughout the year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're able to do through this playoffs. In the Pacific, Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. I'm going to take Vegas. Minnesota's going to hang around here, though. I'm not at all surprised to say that this series, might go again the full distance. Minnesota's a scrappy team. They are a lot of fun to watch. We'll see what they can do. The biggest hindrance to them is injuries. I know Kirill Kaprizov was injured throughout the course of time this season, and you can't ever escape injuries throughout a year, but it's how you answer them. I think they've been able to do a great job of that. We will see where Minnesota ends up. I'm going to take Vegas, though, to close them out. And then I'm going to take Edmonton. This is the only series where I'm not taking the higher seed to win. And it's really hard to go against a team with McDavid, Draisaitl, and that line together. But you had guys like Zach Hyman being pretty important role players as well. Edmonton's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The Kings would not surprise me if they won. I'm going to have a lot of fun watching this series, the late night hours during round 1 of the NHL playoffs. So moving into round 2, we go back to the Eastern Conference, where I'm going to take Toronto to knock off the Tampa Bay Lightning. I just think Toronto is a really good team. I think this is the year that they start to break away from this curse of their own, really. Of course, everybody talks about not having won a Stanley Cup since 1967. They've had one of the best rosters in the league the last 5 or 6 years, and not being able to put the key pieces together to do it. We'll see if Austin Matthews can make that run, or help this team make that run. I'm going to take Toronto in that one. In the Metro, I'm going to take Carolina to upset the Washington Capitals. I think the Hurricanes, again, are a really good team. And I'm excited to see what they'll be able to do. It feels like Carolina, every time they're expected to make that deep run, they just don't get it done. For whatever reason, they fall in the conference finals. They fall in the second round. They haven't been able to fully close out a run in the playoffs. I feel like now that they're kind of not expected to, there's something coming there. So I'm going to take Carolina, and they'll knock off the Capitals in what's probably going to be one of my favorite series in round 2. I think that my favorite series, though, is going to be this next one. We talk about Winnipeg and the Dallas Stars, where I'm going to take the Jets. I think that, again, the President's Trophy curse, not going to matter a lot this year. I'm really liking this Winnipeg Jets team. And, of course, when you got Connor Hellebuck in the net, it helps you, at least it helps me make this decision a little bit easier. But there's other guys out on this team, too. Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, all these guys that can really take over a 7-game series. And I think that Winnipeg's going to get the job done. But this is going to be an absolute war on the ice, if that is what comes true. In the Pacific, I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights over the Edmonton Oilers. I just think this Vegas team is still, talent-wise, one of the best in the league. Of course, they won their division. I think they had a lot of success against this Edmonton team, and I think that over 7 games, or even 6 or 5 games, they are just the better team. They're going to get the job done throughout this run. So that takes us to the conference finals, where we have the Carolina Hurricanes and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights in the West. I'm taking Carolina over Toronto in 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, there's this hunch that I have, and it could turn out being completely wrong. My thoughts and expectations could be completely shattered in round 1, and I know I'm taking a big risk by not going with Toronto or even Washington to go to the finals, the Stanley Cup Finals. But who would I be to just take the 1 seeds all throughout? If there's going to be a place where an upset happens, I know a lot of people are looking in the Atlantic. It makes me feel like maybe I need to look somewhere else. I'm looking in the Metro, and again, I'm taking Carolina in 7. They will make a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals. As for the Western Conference, I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets over the Vegas Golden Knights in 6. I just think Winnipeg's been a very complete team, and again, this kind of stretch we've been on where the President's Trophy winning team has not been able to make their runs, has been knocked out early. I feel like as soon as that ends in the first round, as soon as you get that monkey off your back, you move on and you make a great run through the playoffs. And I just think this Winnipeg team is too good. I think their mind is in the right place at all times. They do a really great job of being focused on what's next, and they've done that all year long. I think that's going to happen again here. I'm taking Winnipeg in 6. They'll close it out on enemy turf down there in Vegas. As for the Stanley Cup Finals, the Winnipeg Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm going to take the Winnipeg Jets in 5. I think that this Carolina team is talented enough to get there. If this is the matchup, I think Winnipeg wins and does it in dominant fashion. Truthfully, I think Winnipeg, outside of this Vegas series, and depending on how Dallas goes, I don't think that Winnipeg plays more than 6 in a series. Again, this could bite me. I could go 0 for 2 on my Stanley Cup Finals participants, but this is a matchup that spoke to me. Every time I change something or go against what kind of my gut tells me, it ends up being even worse than the original outcome. So Winnipeg and Carolina in 5. So to look one more time at the graphic here on your screen, again, that's Winnipeg, Vegas, Toronto, and Carolina coming out of the East. You can see all my picks here as we go sorted out by division in round 1, and then in round 2, pretty self-explanatory, conference finals, Stanley Cup Finals highlighted in gold, and then the champs with the gold background on them. So, yeah, let me know who you guys are taking here in this NHL playoffs. I'm super excited to get started with that tonight. The NBA playoffs also start tonight. My play-in predictions didn't quite go the way I thought they would, but I think that's all right. Thanks. Again, it was a casual guide for a reason. We'll see what everything looks like when the actual playoffs get started here in the next couple of days for the NBA too. So super excited. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Have a safe weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday as we recap the weekend. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, and again, let me know also who are you taking in the NHL playoffs here in 2025. Who is your champ? Let me know. Hey, let me know your finals prediction, your matchup. If you even want to go as far as conference finals, feel free. The comments are open to all that. So, again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.